Kia ora church family, Jerram here. Something a little bit, I guess, different to share with you today whenever you're engaging with us. As a church, we want to be known for making a difference in our community, in the lives of those who live near us and with us. And over the past couple of years, you would have heard me or Gabrielle share a few times that fostering is something that God has placed on our hearts. Gabrielle and I are at the very beginning of a journey to explore what it would mean for us to bring foster children into our home. And in recent months, I've had the real pleasure of getting to know Leanne from Open Home Foundation. And we thought it'd be a really wonderful opportunity just to introduce Open Home Foundation to you, to share the need for foster parents in Wellington. And hopefully this is something that God would use to nudge some of you, put you on your own journey toward fostering. There's a few families in our church who have done it. And so my hope today is as I interview Leanne, that God would use it for His glory and to meet a real need in Wellington. So I'm thankful that you get to engage with us. And Leanne, thank you so much for joining us today. I guess first question is, what is Open Home Foundation? When did it start? And what's your role with them?
Sure. Kia ora, everyone. So Open Home Foundation is a Christian organization. We provide support and care for children, young people, and families that are in need. It started in 1977, so quite a while back, by a wonderful couple, Ewan and Gillian. They had it on their hearts to provide care, and so they just decided to form Open Home Foundation as an alternative option to children and young people that were in the care of the social welfare department. And so they just started to form a network of supporters, Christian families that would offer care, and it just grew over time quite rapidly. Today we have 14 service centres across New Zealand, all covering various areas that provide care and support to their surrounding areas. My role at Open Home Foundation, I'm a foster parent recruiter, so my job is to go around and share information about what we do and help those that need more information on how they could foster with us.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. As we look at the Wellington context, what is the need for foster parents in this region at the moment?
Wow, it's massive. So we work very closely with the government's statutory agent for social welfare, known as Oranga Tamariki. And so we get referrals from them for care. On an average week, we get between 3 and 4 referrals coming through. And unfortunately, majority of the time, we decline those referrals because we just don't have sufficient foster parents available. So I can't give you a finite number, but if we had to just say take the lower number, 3 per week, that's 12 foster parents a month.
Wow.
So yeah, we could use as many as we could possibly get to be able to meet the need out there. Yeah.
And that word need, is that for children under 5, children who are teenagers? What's the range of ages that you guys are looking at?
The age range is from 0 to 18.
Right.
It's quite a large range, but majority of the children that come into care are from 6 years and up. The highest percentage can be attributed to 13 and above. So quite a large percentage of teenagers needing a safe home. Yeah.
And yeah, I guess don't want to assume the kind of backgrounds the children would come from, but why do these children need somewhere else to live?
Yeah, it's because their current home or household has been compromised in terms of their safety and well-being. So the situations would vary, but majority of the time it's a case where there's abuse, alcohol and drug abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse. And usually uplifting a child from their home or young person is the last resort. And so that is the last a bit of intervention that can happen for their safety and well-being. So the families would be worked with before that, prior to that option, and then it comes to a point where nothing much more can be done, and the best thing for the child and young person is to actually be removed and placed in a safer environment.
Yeah, it's quite a it's a very serious thing that we're talking about, right? To remove a child from their home means things have gotten pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess that means for foster parents, when they welcome a child into the home, that would come with a lot of joy, but with some challenges too.
Absolutely. It's certainly a journey that is not easy, but Open Home Foundation provides as much support to our foster parents as we can to make that transition as easy and fluid as possible for both the child and the foster family. As a Christian organization, prayer is an important part of the process, but we also have what we call an after-hour service, and so our foster families can call in whatever hour and request additional support if they need it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What does it take to become a foster parent? Does someone need to have had children already? What's the prerequisites for someone who might be considering this?
Yeah, not necessarily children already having children, but we have people from all walks of life coming through to foster. So one doesn't necessarily need to be married. We have single applicants coming through. We have whole families with children included. We have couples without children. So there's a variety of different ways that one can foster. And so we have a list of criteria that needs to be met. An important thing to consider is having the space and room for a child or young person coming into care. That would be the most important criteria. And then secondly, of course, as a Christian organization, we require our applicants to be active Christians. So other than that, lots of love to give and a spare room is all you need. Yeah.
In terms of active Christians, you mean people who are engaged in a church community, visibly living out their faith, I guess?
Exactly, that's it. So in the application process, we would require a faith reference. And that's important to us because as an organization, we want to uphold our Christian values. And when we say that we offer a Christian community response, it means that we want to place the child or young person in a Christian home where they will be exposed to what it means to know Jesus, what it means to live out a Christian life. And so that's the reason why it's important to us as a criteria.
Yeah, wonderful. And so would that be the key? So there's other organisations that also provide fostering, but would that be one of the key differences between someone, say, signing up directly with Oranga Tamariki or signing up with Open Home, is that Jesus element?
Absolutely, yes. It's what sets us apart. Our Christian kaupapa is what dictates how we carry out our work and our professional response in the social sphere. It's our belief and our values in God's word that dictates how we carry out our work. And so, again, prayer is an important part. We believe that scripture is truth. We believe that family is by God's design, that kids are a gift from God. And so those elements are extremely important to us, and it's what we carry with us to be agents of God's love in the work that we do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Keep preaching, that's great. That was awesome, yeah. Again, there might be some people watching this who just have assumptions that, and even I did when I first started exploring this, was, man, if I'm going to sign up to be a foster parent, I have to do that until the child leaves 18, until the child turns 18. But there's different kinds, right?
Yeah.
If you sign up, it's not like you're in this for the rest of your life. Yeah. There's different modes, right?
Absolutely. So we have different types of fostering. The most common is respite care. And respite care is giving the current caregivers a bit of a break. So it's usually a weekend or two a month. It can be extended for longer if the foster family would like to. And then there's short-term care, there's medium-term care and long-term care, as well as emergency care. So if one wants to put their name down for emergency care, which is usually a case where a child or young person is urgently removed from their home, one would get a call from the hospital or police type of situation for that. Emergency care would come into play where we would need a night or two or maybe a few days while we come up with another plan to place the child in a secure home. So no, one would not be expected to commit long term. We're happy to work with our families and with what works for them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I guess it's when you're talking about placing a child in a new home, I guess is it a very child-centric thing where I guess ideally you wouldn't have someone be like, I'll take that kid for 6 months and then, I guess what I'm asking is you want people who are going to be like wanting to do it for the sake of the child, not necessarily for the sake of, I'll do something good for 6 months and then they can go somewhere else.
So the child's well-being is the forefront of our concern. Yeah. While we look for quality foster parents, we want to give them the best care we can offer. Decisions will be made around the best interest of the child. And if, for example, we have a family who says, we can help for 6 months, we might consider that kind of scenario in terms of short-term care. So, where we would need long-term care for a child, for instance, we wouldn't place them with that family.
Totally.
So,
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So we would work with sort of what we have and sort of work around the child and what's in their best interest. Of course, we wouldn't want to be moving a child or young person from home to home because that's not ideal for them. So that's what we would do.
Great. And you also offer something called Oasis Respite.
Yes.
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah. Our Oasis Respite program is within Wellington region, and it's a service that we offer to children and young people whose primary diagnosis is related to an intellectual disability or autistic spectrum disorder. So it's respite care for that child. They are already in the care of their parents or foster parents, and because they are higher needs child or young person, we want to be able to offer their caregivers a bit of a break. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds great. What kind of feedback do you guys get from foster parents who are engaged with Open Home Foundation?
Mostly positive.
Yeah.
For us, I think what stands out in terms of how we manage our foster parents or how we help or support our foster parents is the fact that we're readily available. We have foster parents ringing in to say, hey, could you just pray with us over the phone? We're just going through a rough time at the moment. Can you help us with that? And so we often have feedback that we're great in terms of our response and our support system that we have available to them. There will be challenges and there will be times where, they'll be going through difficulty on their journey. But Open Home Foundation stands firm in our beliefs to be that support system for them, to come around them in their time of need, however they may need it.
Awesome. It's great. Is there a success story or a story about a young person that you could share just to encourage us?
One of my favorite testimonies to talk about is Mariah's story, and I think I've sent you a video on that one. Mariah went into foster care at quite a young age and had moved through a few different homes where her foster parents didn't treat her very well until she got placed with one of ours. And she grew and flourished in that environment to the point where she's now an adult and has a family of her own, but has just completed her social work degree.
Oh, wow.
And is now continuing the good work in the social work sphere. And so she openly shares how she's learned about God and how her life has changed pretty much. She says that they've saved her life just being placed in their home. And that's massive. And that's what we want to celebrate, the fact that there's an opportunity here to make a difference, but also change a life.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's amazing. If someone watching this is even just slightly interested, if they were to get in touch with you, how long would the process take between a phone call with you or a meeting with you and a child ending up in their home?
Yeah, it does take some time because there's quite a bit of paperwork to get through. And that's because we need to make sure that our foster parents are vetted fully. So a police clearance and MSD check are necessary. And part of our application process requires references. So as I mentioned before, a faith reference, but we also need personal references as well. And that's just for us to be able to understand the character and the family situation. Once the application is completed, we then go through an assessment process. And that is where our social workers would get in touch and would start the assessment process where they would do a home visit, kind of home safety checks as well, get to know the family a little bit more. Once the assessment is done, it's mandatory for all our foster parents to go through training. And the training is done over 2 weekends. It's quite intense training, but it's very necessary. We cover some really important aspects of fostering, one of which is trauma, and understanding what trauma means, how a child or young person would behave having gone through trauma. And it's where we skill our foster parents with tools to be able to work with certain situations. It's only after our training is complete that then they would actively receive a child in care. So the turnaround time can be anything from 3 to 6 months.
Okay. It is, I guess, a somewhat lengthy process, but you would understand that given the seriousness of what a foster parent's about to engage in. I have 2 little ones, and I know that having children, costs go up. It is expensive. Does someone need to be financially well off in order to be able to pay for having a foster child in their home?
Not at all. So our foster parents would receive what we call a board payment for the child or young person in care, and that payment is worked out according to the age of the child. So age and stage of the child will determine how much board payment they would receive, and this board payment basically covers all their needs. So the idea is that there shouldn't be any financial strain on the foster parents in any way to be able to take care of the child or young person.
Sure.
Yeah.
And does that come from Open Home, or is that a government?
So it depends. What we have is shared care, which is the children and young people that are referred from Oranga Tamariki, but we also have children and young people under our guardianship.
Right.
And so it would depend which child or young person comes into care, but if it is shared care, then it would be directly from the government, yes.
Great. Open Home Foundation is a charitable organisation.
Yep.
Someone watching this and they think, look, I love what you do. Fostering isn't for us, no age and stage, but would love to donate. Does Open Home accept donations?
And that can be done on our website. There's options to donate, and you can even decide what you would like done with the money. So we've had people in the past specify a certain amount would like to be contributed towards buying a bicycle or Christmas present or something of the sort for a child. So yes, that's very possible, and we are open to donations, at any time. So yes.
Awesome. Great. Leanne, thanks so much for your time. I wonder if you just wanted to say maybe a final few words to anyone listening, just an encouragement or an appeal to them.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thanks, Jerram, for welcoming me today. And I just want to encourage anyone that has a desire in their heart or is thinking of fostering or just like to know more information to get in touch with me directly or have a look at our website, www.openhomefoundation.org.nz, and get in touch, and I'll be happy to contact you thereafter.
Great. Thanks so much, Leanne.
Thank you.
I trust you've enjoyed that, family. Really important information. And as Leanne mentioned, a really great need for foster parents in the Wellington region. So please do get in touch with Leanne, or if you want to come and chat with me further, I'm really open to that too. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Ka kite.